Hello, good evening. Hope you can hear me okay. It's not too echoey. And so on. Okay, I'm going to start with stock indexes tonight. Now, on Friday, we had quadruple witching, which is option, which is when the options expire in single name stocks and stock indexes in a whole bunch, everything basically. And it's a really, the one in December, quadruple witching, is the one that normally signals the start of the Christmas holiday. So for people, if you work in a bank or an investment bank or a fund or institutional money, basically normally takes 2 weeks off for Christmas, and it would normally start on Friday. So does that mean there aren't still people trading? There are still people trading, but from now until the 4th of January, what we're going to see is really quite thin conditions. And what tends to happen in markets is we'll either see really freaky moves or we'll see some, sideways trading patterns. That's what tends to happen. But as you know, we've seen this in Bitcoin before, with that high that we made 3 years ago on the 17th, 18th of December. This time, around this time, can be a little bit sticky for profit taking. Today, though, was a really funky thing. Remember, whenever you see a really sharp move early in the day or really early on the start of the week, quite often that move will get retraced, especially if a lot of it has happened in Asian trading. So we're looking at the Nasdaq futures here, and you can see that overnight, a lot of this really, really nasty drop, started early in European trading, which is normally quite bullish, a bullish trading session. And what we've done is we've double bottomed at this big previous high. And by the previous high, I mean the high at the beginning of September, and bounced. It's quite volatile. This is what happens when things get a little bit thinner. Markets are thinner. But this double bottom, I would think it's inevitable that we retest the highs. I do think because we fell short in the Nasdaq, that there is a possibility that we keep going to this 1272 fib extension that I was looking for just from this correction. And it may be that I've actually drawn it wrong and we don't go quite that far. And it may be that our rally takes us up to sort of 12,900. That's what I've been looking for. So if we continue to rally this week, we might stay bullish. I do think that more likely, though, the Santa Claus rally is seasonally, normally comes after Christmas and before New Year. So that would be next week. And we've got 4 trading days for that to happen next week. If we look at a calendar, we'll be trading Monday through Thursday. This week is an even shorter week. Markets are open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Remember, much, much thinner trading conditions. Normally, this is really kind of a range-bound market. And then a half day for US session on Friday. But, in Europe, most of Europe, Christmas Eve is really important. So if you're not a European, very few people will still be trading on Thursday. So we've got 3 days at the beginning of this week. And I do think after this really long rally that we are due a bit of a correction. I would normally expect any swing to begin on to end with a 5 waves. When I look at this Nasdaq here, it looks like 5 waves. And so potentially, although we've got this huge bounce off the lows this morning, it may be that we go sideways for a couple of days and we don't see new highs. A lot of people are getting excited about a potential Brexit deal with a deal on fishing. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things out there. What has been really, really volatile today, and I think that what might be driving a lot of it, is the dollar index. Let's take a look at the dollar index, the DXY. We had a rally back to test resistance this morning in this dollar index. It was looking like we were going to see a bounce all the way into Christmas. but we got rejected at the daily 20 moving average. That very often happens first time back to it. In fact, if you look since the beginning of November, since we go sideways, but when we're in a downtrend, that 20 moving average, some people use the 21 moving average. I use a 20 exponential. I like it. That's the resistance. So 1, 2, 3, that's where we found resistance today. If we look at other times when we trend, not when we go sideways, but when we trend here, you can see how that moving average very often works as either support or resistance, 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 resistance. So first time back to it. However, this candle, when you look at this candle, you think, oh, it looks really bearish, doesn't it? And I think it's the opposite of a hanging man. I would not be surprised if we, again, continued to go sideways, did some more sideways trading. But look, it does get very volatile in FX, and particularly like the euro dollar, when the markets get very thin. Today's price action covered, 2 weeks of prices in one candle, all the way up, all the way down again. So, yeah, that's not very helpful for Bitcoin, is it? What it does mean is that it's going to be quite hard to discern a trend until in Bitcoin as well, because Bitcoin really does best when the dollar is weak, which has been quite a long-term trend really since, gosh, if we zoom out and look at this, we have, ever since the COVID, they started printing money for the coronavirus. This has been really a one-way ticket with a drop, sideways consolidation, a drop, shallow bounce, drop, sideways continuation. So we're still in that really nasty downtrend that we've been in since they turned the printers on. And FX trends, FX can go a long time sideways. When it trends, it tends to trend for quite a while. Okay, so that's back to favorable conditions for Bitcoin, and that is back to potentially we could see quite a shallow pullback in Bitcoin. So I'm going to start first off. Let's start with the monthly chart, and I'm using Bitstamp prices not because they have the biggest history. So when you have the biggest history, I can do the most fib projections for me, and I'm going off the 2013, 2015 swing Fibonacci projections because they've worked really well all the way up. I think that as long as we stay above 18,200, then we are going to continue to 29,500, 400, there or thereabouts. It's actually 29,900. And when I add on the projections from this corrective swing in 2017, that's where they all line up. But what we've got here in the middle is a little bit of an interim resistance level at 24,100. If we go back in time in Bitcoin, so if we go back, let's look at it on a weekly. If you go back to every December, what you've tended to see is weakness, particularly in late December, and then it picks up again in the new year. If we look here, we had nasty weakness. So that's what we did at the end of 2019, sideways weakness, and we picked up again in January. If we go back to the end of 2018, weakness at the end of the month, and then a really nice rally, 2017 speaks for itself, doesn't it? That was pretty nasty year. So there tends to be, and I'm going back further now, we'll go beyond 2017. There tends to be around New Year. So here, actually this was a little bit late in 2017, we rallied in, and then we had 2 weeks before we set off rallying again. But at year end, there tends to be a little bit of reckoning if you go back. So seasonal, we're due a little bit of a seasonal pullback. In terms of a wave count, this has been quite hard to count in Bitcoin. But if we were to count it on a shorter time frame, say this daily chart, what I think is where I think that we should start from the March low, the COVID low. I think this was our wave 1 and this was 2, and then we're in 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3, 4 of 3, and we've just completed 5 of 3. So we should do a wave 4 here that's kind of equal to the correction that we did in May. So it's not going to take that long, maybe a week or two, and then and then I think we should do one more push higher, and that's going to take us to our 30,000 level before we see a pullback perhaps to the lows that we make here. So I'm by no means a bear. I think that this is just a correction and an uptrend that we're seeing. So now the short term is, well, where are we going to come back to? Because when we look at the bounces today that we made in stock indexes and in the dollar, we haven't really seen that reflected in Bitcoin. In fact, Bitcoin's been a bit laggy and heavy, hasn't it? When I was looking at this before, I said, let's start this five-wave swing that we're in from. Let's not assume what the bigger wave count is, but let's just look at this, because I really feel like this was an ABC correction, especially with this tag of the 200 moving average. So we should start our count rather from 26th of November. We should start it here at the beginning of December. So we're looking at the December low to high. And we've got 5 waves up here, haven't we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we've started a correction. Corrections normally take 1/3 of the time that you took to rally. So, that would take us just to the other side of Christmas as well. So to next weekend. And then we could look to perhaps for the rally to resume then. And we should normally see 3 waves. Well, we've dropped to the first level that I would have expected in this drop on this first one. So if I go from this low to high, the first support level is the 236 fib, and then the 38.2. Okay, so if this is a bigger wave, this 38.2, I thought that this was a pretty good bet, 21,800 around there. However, it's bounced pretty snappily from it. In fact, in terms of trend, we haven't made a new low here on this 4-hour. And, could we just keep going like stocks? Yeah, we could. I do think, though, that it's more likely we're going to do an ABC. And if we lose this 21,700 level, then the next support is the 50%, a little bit lower, 20,900 potentially. I feel like the dips are being bought in Bitcoin even over the holidays. I mean, if you look at some of the conversations, like the conversation yesterday with Elon Musk and Michael Saylor about buying, people are still buying Bitcoin. Sniper One says, dollar looks like it's going to go up. Is Bitcoin going to drop? Yes, I think it is in the short term, but that's not a trend. I really do feel like, what you tend to see with big holidays, 3-day, 4-day market holidays, is very often you'll see trend reversals going into the holiday. It's just people taking profit or managing their risk or, protecting their positions or taking them off, taking profit in positions that have done well. So if you've seen a long-term trend, it'll reverse going into holiday just because people are taking profit. A lot of people don't want to be worried about their positions over Christmas and will put them back on again or over the holidays with their families. And then you see after the holiday, the bigger trend resume very often, or, sometimes a trend reversal around them. So, and if we get a Santa Claus rally, Santa Claus likes Bitcoin. We should get the same. So I do think that this week we might see some volatility and some weakness. Okay. If we look at how far, so when would we be ready to go again? To be honest, when we look at every bigger correction that we've done in Bitcoin, we've come back to this daily 20 moving average before we've gone back again. And this 20 moving average is down here. So that if we did bounce and then another swing down to this 50%, that would be a good place to say hi to that 20 moving average and go again, wouldn't it? So I just think this is a good week to be patient And if you don't want to be, if you want to take some time off and you don't want to be worrying about Bitcoin, this might be a good week to protect your profits. Personally, I've sold half of my position in Bitcoin and I'm waiting to buy the dip. So, yeah, I've just covered it by half. There's a lot of way you can do it. If you keep your Bitcoin in a cold wallet, in a ledger wallet, you can, if you have, you can use an exchange, which allows leverage, and you could, short it to 1-to-1 without leverage to protect your position when it does this, and then you don't have to sell your actual Bitcoin. There's lots of ways you can hedge against it going down. But I do think this far, every time we've kind of gone this far from the 20 moving average, we've either gone sideways for a few days while the moving average catches up, or we've pulled back to it. I don't know which one we're going to do. I don't know. We'll either go sideways and carry on, or we'll do that bigger thing. And I would probably lean towards the bigger dip, only because I've seen it really get quite volatile over Christmas, and we've got a lot of things going wrong at the moment. Not least, everywhere shutting down with a new variant of the virus, and it's going to take a very long time for everybody to get vaccinated as well. So everyone who's going to get vaccinated. So that's what I'm looking for in Bitcoin. In fact, one of the really good signs of a correction. Let's go to an hourly chart here. One of the good signs of a correction is a 50% move. So when a market first swing is like a 50%, that's very often the sign of a correction. If we let's take this away. If we just measure from the highs here, this rally is doing that like 50%, 61.8. I feel like, I'm not sure that, I feel like this is the A leg down. Now we're going to do a B leg, and then we're going to do a C leg. And if we look at that in terms of timing, that would, C legs can take a little bit longer. So I'm not sure that we've finished going up. So we might do a bit of this. And go, if we're going to go sideways, if we don't make a new high and if we continue lower from here, then obviously, we're going to do the bigger drop thing. I don't really know what else I can say about Bitcoin. I just think that this is, most people, here's the thing, most people lose money when a market is going sideways. And they get stubborn about their view. I think that this reversal, at least on an hourly, has told us that we're in for some sideways volatile trading, and getting chopped up while it's doing this is the worst thing you can do. So if we, if you've decided that you're going to ride out the pullback, don't get sucked into, the worst thing you can do is, if once you decided that, is get down to the low and go, oh my God, I can't stand it anymore. I'm going to sell the rest. And then it rallies, because usually the point of maximum pain, when you say to yourself, okay, I can't stand it anymore, that's when it turns up again. So if you've decided you're going to ride it out, switch it off and don't look. And, if you're going to ride it out, I think you have to be okay, with a 10 or 15%, sometimes a little bit more in Bitcoin, pullback, but you just have to trust the bigger trend. On the daily, this is a really bigger trend, but we have got a little bit stretched. So do I think that this is the high? No, I really don't. But Ahmed says you've already lost 5% of your position. Should you sell everything? Do you know, Ahmed, it's really hard to answer that question without knowing how much of your portfolio that is. If that's like all the money you own, the problem is that this is the story of Bitcoin. It's the most tempting to buy usually when it's stretched so far to the upside, and the best time to buy it is when it's pulling back and nobody is talking about it. And so No, at the moment I probably wouldn't, but I would put a stop under the low. So if I was looking at this, I think that we're going to see another swing higher. So I would put my stop under this low now, a hard stop, so I don't lose any more. I'd wait and see, and if we make a big double top here or a lower high and turn down again, so a lower high and would turn down again, I would probably sell that, yes. So no, don't sell everything, but make a plan. And the worst thing you can do is say, oh, I'm going to stay in it for now, and then it goes lower, and then you need to make your plan now and not when it's going down and you don't like it anymore, because that's when we make bad decisions, when we're not feeling very good about it all. So really, I'm still looking just for shallow pullbacks and then trend continuation in Bitcoin. We just got to get through the holiday. I know everyone's got these really awful memories of December 2017, and everybody said, oh, December. But I think it's, this is not... Yash, as you noticed on the Bitcoin chart, that every time Bitcoin pulls back, it pulls back to... Okay, every time we get a weekly reversal, Bitcoin does that. Okay, so let's go back to Bitcoin, clean up our chart. Now here, yeah, weekly reversal. Let's talk about what a weekly reversal is, because there's a lot of ways you can measure it. Let's clean up these. Let's just hide these for a second. Okay. Yes. Each time we come back to this weekly 200 and we go up again. After every all-time high, I wouldn't say that. We got 50%. Look, we rallied 50%, 61.8 of this drop, and then we went back to the 200 moving average. But, what is going to tell us that we're going back? First off, I like to use 236 fibs. So, for example, from this low to this high, okay, for me, this is really stretched. As soon as we closed underneath this 236 fib, that says to me that we're in a bigger correction scenario, 38.2, 50%. So we're going to go, usually at least double this. And the same thing here, when we were looking at this swing, I go from the all-time lows to those all-time highs. So that's what I use for Fibonacci reversal. As soon as we did this rally and we closed back underneath this 236 fib, this says bigger correction. It might chop around and go back and forward through the line and make you think, oh no, that's not happening. But no, it almost always does. So in this swing in Bitcoin, that level's a million miles away, okay? That's down at 19,400. So I would only think that we are going to do, and isn't that interesting? That would be a retest of these highs. So we would only get our bear suit on if we drop back underneath these highs from December 2017. Then I would say, yeah, we're going to go and say hi to this weekly 200 moving average, maybe. I really don't think that this swing is finished though. And so that's why I'm saying, I'm looking on lower time frames for signs of a reversal. So on a lower time frame, a sign of reversal, I'm going to take the most recent swing. So we just talked about this. So at the moment, we haven't closed underneath this, but once we do from this most recent swing, we're going to be in a bigger correction just of this swing though. 50% back maybe, or something like that. Now, I haven't done it yet, haven't closed underneath it here. This is the daily. Haven't closed it underneath it on the weekly. So we're still good at the moment, and we're a little bit sideways, but a close underneath 22,700, yes, we'll see us come back to this daily 20. And then when I look at this again, these moving averages support us all the way up, and yeah, so if we start flipping these moving averages, so there's no chance of that on a daily, but if we start on a lower time frame, like a 4 hour What does flipping the moving averages mean? It means getting underneath them and then they become resistance, so you start a downtrend. And at the moment, we're not in a downtrend yet. And at the moment, we're still, you know, as long as if you don't know anything about fibs, right, and you just look at swings, an uptrend is higher highs and higher lows, isn't it? Okay, and a downtrend is lower highs and lower lows. Okay, so if we're going to break this uptrend, we've got to break this low here, okay? And then we've made a lower low, and then we'll, you know, that's trend. Simple. And believe me, simple works. So when we look at this short-term 4-hour trend here in Bitcoin, up, sideways, up, side. So if we break these lows, so at the moment, that's what the simple market is looking at, these 4-hour lows. If we break them, if we can only rally halfway here, and if we don't make a new high, we're going to be looking at one of those head and shoulders patterns. And so if we break these lows, then that's our head and shoulders pattern triggered, and this 236 fib. Well, in a head and shoulders pattern, you normally go twice the distance from the head to the neckline, don't you? So that's pretty close to 25%. So that would set up, wouldn't it, our 50% reversal from this low to high. So that's, you know, how I look. 50 or 61.8 is a very common retrace. So that's what that's how I'm looking at this in Bitcoin. Now, corrections are very often either equal or the second swing has a fib relationship to the first swing, normally 61.8. And I use this little tool and I measure it. So if we measure from this high to this low, I've done it wrong. If I measure from this high to this low and I project it from the bounce, if this second swing lower is 61.8 of the first swing, then here you can see 61. We're going to retest the low exactly. And if we go a little bit higher from here, that price will move up. So if we squeeze higher, you know, almost to the highs and so on. If we break this previous low, we'll go to the equal measured move level, which is a 20,900, which is the same 20,900 that I said was our second support. So 20,900 is our second support. That's the ABC level from here. And if we put our fibs on, where does that leave us? You can see that's exactly 50% from this low to this high. So if we can't get any higher than we've done already today, and we continue and we make a new low, our support is at 20,900. Okay, we're all going to be rich eventually. I know, but people who've bought lately, you know, the thing about trading, especially if you time your entry wrong, is it can be really uncomfortable. It make you like, there's nothing worse than losing money, is there? And when you feel uncomfortable because you're losing money, sometimes you don't make very clever decisions. So you sell the lows and things like that. So if we make a new low, 20,900. If we break 20,900, then we've got really, really big, fat, massive support at this high, haven't we? 19,600. So those are our levels. 20,900, and then the retest of the highs from 2017. Okay. So let's move on and look at a couple of other markets, because I've spent ages, haven't I, talking about not very much. So let's talk about ETH. Now, I'm going to start everything we're going to look at tonight. We're going to look at first against Bitcoin, because, you know, if it's not, you want to be on the fastest horse on the race. I keep saying this. If it's not going up against Bitcoin, why would you spend your Bitcoin on it? And so you want to see them bottom against Bitcoin. If you're gonna, and for me, ETH Bitcoin hasn't quite bottomed yet. I'm watching this very closely. I thought this was a swing failure pattern. Wasn't this ugly ETH Bitcoin yesterday? I don't know if this is just Bitstamp. Let's look at a different exchange and make sure. Let's see. No, yeah, it was just that one. So this is still pretty ugly because here we are back at the lows. And when you looked at this, you could think, oh, well, isn't that correction over in, or is, you know, what's going on here? Why are we retesting these lows? Let's zoom out. We'll put our fibs on, we'll put our moving averages on, and we'll see where our support and resistance might be. Because we've been doing this big fight around the moving averages to see if we could find support, and we haven't found it, and they're not working. So let's go back to the weekly in ETH Bitcoin. Now, I'd kind of been hoping that we could make a big, fat, inverted head and shoulders pattern here. That would be very nice and bullish. Our neckline is here at 460. So if we look left to where it looks pretty grim at the moment, doesn't it? Because it looks like we've lost the weekly 50 moving average today. But this is only the first day of the week. This candle doesn't close for another 6 days. And believe me, a lot can happen in crypto in 6 days. So we're not going to panic about that yet. But we are going to look at these levels. So is that the closing levels, or should we use these? If we do this and we say, yo, we're looking for a nice big bullish inverted head and shoulders pattern, then we've got a little bit further to fall here, haven't we, in ETH Bitcoin? And if we put our fibs on and we say let's look for a 61.8, that's a little bit lower as well from this low to this high. And you know, if we put the closing prices on there, that's kind of around where we are. We've been trying to hold them, so I think if not here, but a little bit lower at 2548, 0.02548 is where ETH Bitcoin is likely to find some support. And then I think that we are going to see it rally. So for me, I'm not quite piling in yet. You know, we retested these lows. I wanted to see a big fat bullish reversal. Whenever we do this, so big fat bullish reversal, remember that rule about the 236 fib? As soon as you take that out, you're going up again. You've done more. But at the moment, yeah, I feel like we've just got a little bit further to fall. And it may be that we need a bit more time. It may be that we've just done a big A leg. Now we're going to do a B leg. Sorry about the dog. You know, and this is just isn't ready yet. So, you know, we'll try it if it rallies. So, not highlighter brush. So we'll try it if it rallies. But if this rally just ends up being an ABC, that would say we've still got more to come. So how the rally unfolds. I wonder if James is listening. 1 second, please. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I would definitely buy ETH against Bitcoin if we could hold the lows, or if we bounce off this 61.8 level. If we actually tag the 61.8 level first, then I'd be looking for the 50% as my first target. And then this 38.2 as my second target. So if we make a new low, false break new low, and come up, that's my first target. 28.37 second target. And then we'll see if we can go beyond that. You know, but most likely when you do that 61.8, 38.2 thing, you tend to do this. You'll retest the 50% in the middle. Okay. So I think ETH is doing what Bitcoin is, but I don't think it's outperforming Bitcoin yet. So I'm not piling heavily into ETH while it's all about Bitcoin. I was really hoping this support level in ETH dollar would have held this morning. But we've come back to the 20 moving average and we've found support from it. If we look all the way up, this 20 moving average, every time we've tagged it, it's worked very nicely as support. Okay, 1 second, everybody. Okay, so could we bounce from here in ETH? Yes, we could. But if I zoom out, instead of, remember, when you draw your fibs, you either put them over the whole swing, A, B, C, or whatever, or you put them over the most recent swing, the most recent obvious swing. Picking random ones in the middle to make your idea fit, for me, is like not cool usually. So if we use this most recent swing, because these levels look like they do fit and work to support and resistance, then we've stopped at this 786 fib level. That's at 668. And so we're going to stay bullish, and we're still going up in ETH dollar as far as I'm concerned, as long as we stay above 543. Now, I know that's a long way away, but when we do go into these bigger corrections, we tend to go back to the previous fib levels. Let's hope not on a weekly, and we just stay in a shallow correction in an uptrend. Remember, the most common retrace is a 50%. That's like not a fib level, but a common retrace. So today we've done that 50% level. We've done the 20 moving average, so there's lots to like for us to bounce and retest the highs here in ETH. And if we make a new high, we're going up. We've gone through. And if we don't, we've got more correction or more sideways to do. So if we make a lower high, or the thing with when you do that correction, that 50% thing, is mean markets that mean revert tend to keep mean reverting. So it looks like we've done an ABC correction. It looks like we've done enough. But if we rally from here and we can't get, first off, if we're going to be going up in ETH, look, I've got my fib from this high to this low on the 4 hour. First off, we've got to get above this 236 fib. That's our trend thing, right? 615.8. So a 4 hour close above that would say that we're going up. And then because we've paused at a 50%, our first target is going to be this 50% again at 636. We might find there's resistance there and we head lower again. So that's how I'm going step by step with ETH. If we're going up, we'll close above 615.8, and then we need to watch out for resistance at 636. But above there, or outside of this channel that we're in, that's probably us done. So we'll draw a channel like this. Then the next stop would be the top of the channel. And then now I'm going to cheat a bit here, and I'm going to draw it on the low, based on these lows. So I'm going to make mine best fit. So that's kind of like best fit, isn't it? Something like that. So then it would become a bull flag. Okay. So that's what I'm looking for. When you have what you think is an ABC correction, then your key level to watch for a breakout is the 786. So if we did that here in ETH, that would be above 659. Above 659, we've probably got a breakout. So yes, potentially we could bounce from here in ETH, but look how Bitcoin has bounced compared to ETH. It's really not performing as well, is it? Now, one of the ones that shot late in the year star performer is Ripple. Let's start though with Ripple against Bitcoin, because again, I don't think if it's not outperforming Bitcoin, I don't think that you should be wasting your Bitcoin on it. In Ripple, so we had a really nice bounce from the 200 moving average, didn't we, here? So this is this, let's go back and look what we did this week. We had a really nice bounce from the 200 moving average. But where couldn't we get above? We couldn't get above this 236 fib or the daily 20 moving average. So now we're in that sideways zone thing. Our moving averages is flat. Look at that 200 moving average. It's flat. That means no trend. Doesn't mean that it'll be support or resistance, but it just means that there's no real trend. But it also means that we are retesting a really, really good support level. If we put our fibs the other way around, I can't remember if this was, no, that's the problem. right? So now we're retesting this 200 moving average. Have I drawn these fibs correctly? When I want to know, I put the interim ones on, say, how did we react? Well, this 236 fib clearly was support and resistance. This 50% level, look, was a big deal. And so we're underneath this 61.8. So I think if we make a new low in Ripple Bitcoin, and if we close underneath the 200 moving average, then the next support is at 21.36. So for me to buy it, I want to see it really strongly hold this 200 moving average and turn up again to prove that that's it, or I'm going to wait and see the reaction down here at 21.36. Now, sometimes if you want to see how much, you want a bit more confluence really for this level, you want it to see it be a really good support and resistance level, that would help, or if it was a harmonic pattern or a fib projection level, something like that. Now, if we, you know, these lows, I suppose, it's not a bad support and resistance level. Let's do one more thing though, and just put a fib. Okay, so if we hide this, you can see that this is the 1.618 from this rally. So, you know, there's a lot to say that we could hold the lows here in Ripple. And I'm not saying for sure that we're going to continue lower. So now we just have to look low time frame for evidence that we're going to bounce from here. So far, none. But that's what I'd be looking for. So 2265, I want to see it go green and go up from here. And if it doesn't, I think we've got that little bit further to fall to that retrace level and then a bounce. So I'm watching it closely in Ripple Bitcoin. Now, if you're long of Ripple already, does this mean that you're, losing money? Probably not. I think Ripple Tether is a pretty nice example of a bullish pennant. So a bullish flag is like a rectangle on its side. A bullish pennant is when you have a triangle pattern, flat shaped flag. And so this is our flagpole and this is our pennant. So as long as we hold the lows, we're looking all good. We're not at new lows, but we really are, flat daily moving average sideways consolidation. And when the market does this, this is the best time to get chopped up, which you don't want to do. Now let's zoom out and say, if this was a big, very often in wave, 4 positions before you do another leg higher, you make a triangle pattern. So if we are doing that here, potentially we've done A, B, C, D, and this next leg should be E, finish, and we rally again. So you kind of look for the relationships between the swings. It's not the best looking one I've ever seen, but this swing was 61.8 of this first swing. So if we repeat this again here and we look at this swing and we say, where is 61.8 of this one? Well, you know what? It's here. So maybe we could rally from here in Ripple Tether. Very often E-legs, don't come all the way down to the bottom in this daily 50 moving average. We could potentially rally from here in Ripple US dollar, or we're going to drop a bit lower to this to 0.455. So let's see the price action down low. Yeah, at the moment it hasn't reversed yet. So what for signs of a reversal for me are a double bottom. That's a good sign. Inverted head and shoulders pattern. So if we did this and turned up quickly higher here, those kind of things. At the moment, I would say I'm just going to sit on my hands and wait for a better looking entry in Ripple. And I feel like it may have a little bit further to fall. So Haven. So yeah, my James is a huge fan of Haven. And the problem with Haven, I think we can see here on this daily again, is these little bit of flat moving averages, and this has ended up being also a triangle. So if we measure, this is Haven Bitcoin. You can't trade it against the dollar. So if we measure from this high to this low and we project it from here, it was messy, but this was a 61.8 of this previous swing. So if we do the same here again for Haven, we measure from this high to this low and we project it from here. We're just around that 61.8. We've just overshot it a little bit, haven't we? So potentially, yes, we could rally from here without going all the way to the bottom of this triangle, and it wouldn't be a surprise. So what would confirm it for me in Haven? Well, first thing I'd like to see is back above this 50 moving average, which I think we're going to do. But then from this high here, I'm looking for 14,339, and above 14,339, that would be that 236 from the high. That would confirm for sure Haven is going up again. And that's kind of where this 200 moving average is. Let's look left here. This 200 moving average, it's not a sharp line. Let's keep going left. But it's a pretty good indicator of support and resistance, isn't it, for Haven? Support, support, off, support, big rally, support, decent rally. Underneath it, it was resistance, resistance. So the first place we're going to look is back to this 200 moving average, and then above it, I think, yeah, we're going higher. But 14,339, if we don't make any further lows, that would be the first level that I'd be looking for Haven Bitcoin to be going up again. This price action today, we're still in the bottom of the tail, aren't we? So we're not quite, it's not quite, it looks pretty good. Short term, remember, what do we look for? Double bottom. So, you know, we've got a good sign of potentially this is the low in Haven. So let's see. Okay, I'm going to speed up a bit if I can. Litecoin. Litecoin is a pretty good leading indicator, I think. Let's start with Litecoin. Bitcoin, though, because if it's not going up against Litecoin, Bitcoin, why? Really, why? And well, this chart's just a bit of a mess, isn't it? So, Litecoin. In fact, this was pretty ugly today. It wasn't, though. That kind of, it's not a classic looking correction. I wouldn't be surprised if we find some support around here in Litecoin and have a bounce and squeeze a little bit higher. When I look at Litecoin on the weekly, I feel like we've overshot this 786 fib level that I was expecting us to hold. And you know, when you do that, when you overshoot a level, when markets overshoot, they tend to make head and shoulders patterns or inverted head and shoulders patterns with that level that they overshot as a neckline. So I had thought that this would go a little bit further, but instead we're stuck in between these daily moving averages with not much going on. Again though, let's look at this weekly. This is potentially, if this is just a pullback, a level for Litecoin to bounce from. Let's look at these lows. Let's look left. Okay, lows, 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 highs, highs, highs. This is the level, 4,500, and the weekly 20 moving average. So potentially, just like Bitcoin had maybe found support, everything else that we looked at is maybe on support. This is, and even on this hourly, you can see the support and resistance and the hourly 200 moving average. So yeah, potentially we could rally from in Litecoin from here, in Litecoin Bitcoin, and our target would be 5429. How would you know we're going up? Again, use the moving averages. These moving averages are the wrong way around. So very often when you see that, your first time you'll bounce, you'll do this, you know, or you'll do quite a deep pullback. By wrong way around, I mean 20 is underneath the 50. So again, Christmas week, don't be surprised if we do a bit of this before we go up again. But potentially we're sitting on really good support in Litecoin. Confirmation that we're going higher again would be above that 236 fib again, above 4678. So that's what I would want to see in Litecoin. Even if I was trading Litecoin against the US dollar, that's what I would want to see. If I was trading it against Tether, or in fact, let's look at the Coinbase chart because it's more volume. Okay. Here's the problem, isn't it, for Litecoin? From these highs to this lows, this is again this 236 fib, can't get above it. It's a little bit of a struggle, pull back. This time though, yeah, again it feels like 1, 2 overlapping. Either way, I think we're going to see a 3-wave correction from here, and confirmation that that's happening would be a break of this 236 support, which is 194, and that's where the low is. So here's another one where, yeah, we are likely to bounce from here, but we shouldn't ignore the fact that this candlestick pattern is a bearish reversal pattern, and it's either the start of a sideways consolidation period or it's the start of a bigger pullback. I'm not sure which yet. If it's a bigger pullback and if we lose 100.9 in Litecoin dollar, I think we come back to 75, which would be 50% of this swing. If we can hold here and go sideways through Christmas, that would be great. And a close above 116 would be really bullish for Litecoin. Okay, next one I'm going to look at is BCH. So BCH is one of the PayPal coins, isn't it? So here we go. Had a really nice little rally, and it seems to have retraced all of it, which is very disappointing, frustrating. Again, see this last swing, high to low. Where couldn't we close above? The 236 fib. So we had a really good search party above it. We couldn't close above this 236 fib level. So the first time that we're going up is going to be from here, a close above 14837, 0.014837. And if we can't, I'm afraid we're still in a downtrend. I'm going to get rid of that. And let's go to the monthly. We are not outperforming Bitcoin. That's the thing. So you may as well keep your Bitcoin for now. These candles have been so tempting, haven't they? They just say pause. We're not going down anymore. We're going to go up. And then this, you know, this one in November was the toughest one. But, you know, I'm just going to say to myself, when I look at this weekly chart, it's just Monday. We've got 6 days to fix this. But at the moment, it's still going down. Okay, next one we're going to look at is XTZ. I haven't quite got everything ready, so I apologize if it takes me a few minutes. Tezos. Cool. Now, I know I've been talking conspiracy things about Ledger, but we won't go there. So if we look at the all-time lows to highs, this is Tezos against Bitcoin. Okay, remember, it's got to be going up against Bitcoin, otherwise why? And for me, every support that I've got has been broken in terms of fibs. So when you calculate these fib levels, okay, 786 is the square root of 61.8. 886 is the square root of the 786. So if we're going to do that again, then the next one is a 942.0.942. So sometimes there's like this extra secret fib level that works, and we've gone beyond that as well. So for me, I really think that the only hope now is a retest of the lows in Tezos Bitcoin. So would I spend my Bitcoin on it? No, at the moment. I think that this is where we're headed, this opening. one down here. So we're headed back to 950. And unless we see something like really dramatic as a bullish sign of a bottom, 950 is where we're going to go. When I look at the hourly, you know, these hourly moving averages are still in a downtrend. We're a long way from our 200 moving average. So yeah, I think the retest of these lows are close, but that's probably where we're going to go. Okay, I'm going to have a quick look at I'm going to take a quick peek at the dollar chart to see if there's any reason to have some hope before then, because it's not the end of the world in this dollar chart, but this is Tezos against the dollar. See, this is a little bit concerning. Here's our weekly moving average. We've got a bearish cross of these weekly moving averages. So if this trend line of this consolidation breaks, then I would say look out, we're going to see another swing lower. The bullish way to look at this would be left shoulder, head, and we make a right shoulder. So we've got, you know, they should be approximately equal. So we've got about another week if we want to see this turn up higher from here. 2.16 is the weekly, 61.8. So as long as we, you know, don't close the week underneath it, fine. So that's, yeah. I don't think you're losing money, but you're not going up, are you? And if Bitcoin's going up, why would you be in this one that's doing nothing and going sideways? So in terms of dollars, no, you're not losing a ton of money anymore in Tezos. But Lacey Katona says, shouldn't you consider 200 candles to read correctly to 200 EMA? There's no 200 moving average on this weekly chart. Sorry if I said that. I meant 50. There's no 200 week candle yet. No. Maybe there's a newly minted one. No, not yet. So on the daily though, we've got this 200 moving average on the daily. Okay. Yeah, that's the 20. So look, daily flat. So against the dollar, flat, dead flat. Look, dead flat 200 moving average, dead flat 50 moving average, no trend. So you are not losing money if you've got a bag of Tezos, but other things have been moving. So you are maybe losing an opportunity. If we dip below 1.9, I would say get out of the way. It's probably going to go to 1.52. Okay, Titus, on the bottom right of your screen, there's a thing that looks like a wheel, a cog here. See that? Click that. You can change your playback quality, okay? Then you can make the charts clearer. All right, let's zoom along. Neo, now. Pretty much all of these alts, they're all the same story. They've all looked really good against the US dollar, and they've all looked absolutely rubbish against Bitcoin. And again, you have to say to yourself, why? Why would you do it? So it's absolutely incredible to me how very often these first, and this works really well in penny stocks or small cap stocks. The opening range of the first candles are always like really important support and resistance, and this is really true in Neo Bitcoin. These lows then, and this 2357 level, look how this was the high, and now we've made a and reversed, and now look, this high, now we're underneath this level. This is going to be the same. It's going to be resistance. So if we want to be going up again, we need to get back above these lows here. So I'm going to make it a little bit more conservative and use that slightly first higher one and say 832. So Neo Bitcoin, I you know, if we turn and rally from here, 832 is your first target, and only above 832 can we talk about, you know, maybe a bullish reversal. At the moment, this is still in a downtrend, and we can use fib projections. So we're going to take this most recent swing, low to high, and these are the projections we're going to use. So don't worry, I'm going to line it up properly. All the people with OCD are screaming and not able to look at the screen. So there, we'll line it up. Okay. For me, the next support in Neo Bitcoin is at 625, and only if we get above 828, I'm bullish. Otherwise, I think that this level is resistance if we rally and we keep going down. Not yet there yet. You're welcome, Roberto. So yeah, I'll take a quick peek at Neo US dollar, because, you know, maybe it doesn't mean you're not going to make money, but Neo Bitcoin says not yet. Now, when I look at Neo Tether, sideways consolidation at a really good level, we're holding a really good level. You're not losing money in Neo against Tether, but you might as well be in Bitcoin because you'd be making more. That's all I'm saying. I think it's got a little bit further to go. So yeah, you know, when you have a bullish cross of your moving averages, which we've got here on the weekly, you expect to pull back to them, find support, and turn and rally away. I feel like we're building a base here. I wouldn't want to see us lose this daily 200 moving average, but there's no trend. This is neutral, sideways, I'm afraid. Waiting for the next alt season to begin. Okay. Afraid I don't know anything about IPOC read, but I will check it out. Dash. So all of these OG big cap original gangster coins are all the same, pretty much in nasty downtrends against Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a beast and it's crushing everything in its path. I feel like we've got a little bit further to fall in Dash Bitcoin as well. 38.71, maybe 23.43 against Bitcoin. So again, this makes me not want to buy it unless I see a reversal. Now, this low here, 53.12, we're kind of washing back and forward through this level, which is unusual. But if we got a back above it, I would say, yeah. If we got above these daily moving averages, I would say, yeah. But, you know, since we've got underneath them again, they've become resistance. This looks like a dollar chart all the way up, all the way down again, doesn't it, in Dash? So these daily moving averages that we now support are resistance. So above 5,000, 4991 it is, but let's call it 5,000. Above 5,000 or whatever, this is the 236 fib level, that would be Dash going up against Bitcoin. And unless it does, it's slightly lower, isn't it? 4883, good early warning. Unless it starts going up, that's it. Somebody said, hi Nick, I think your Facebook page has been hacked, giving away $1,000. Okay, there's been a spate of people making false fake Facebook accounts that pretend to be me. I'm just going to double check. I don't think that my Facebook's been hacked, but now I'm panicking. I know it happens to Peter McCormack. So actually, no. Luckily, my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Nictrades, has not been hacked. But that probably means somebody's made a fake account. Honestly, I never give away I'm a bitch. I never give away anything. So, and I certainly don't give away Bitcoin. Okay, so if you ever see that, this is not me, right? And I will go and search Facebook for who that is and take care of it. But thank you for letting me know, whoever it was that just messaged me. Okay. Yeah, I'm a bitch. Ask anyone. Unless you're a dog, and then I'm really nice. My love, thank you for the people asking. My lovely dog is, you know, these dogs that come from the streets, they're not in very good condition. They're really stressed. Takes them a long time, but he's lovely. I only asked for the ledger secret keys, exactly. Okay. So listen, when you look at a rally, okay, which we're looking at here, so there's a couple, let's look at a couple of things on this chart for what I'm looking at for a reversal. So for Unfi, Bitcoin, I've got my fibs on this most recent swing because they were for no other reason than they were working, okay? But we can do it a couple of ways, okay? We'll go from the bottom, and this is a reversal at a 61.8 fib. When you reverse at a 61.8 fib, remember, it's like a staircase. You got to get above the 50. And so this is our 61.8. So our resistance is this 50%, 43.6011. And today, that's where we hit resistance and at the daily 20 moving average. So that's not working. I also put my fib on this most recent swing here, like this. And we reversed at a 786 fib level. And a very nice support and resistance level, didn't we? Now, when you do that at a 786, you've got to get above the 61.8 to be going up again. Otherwise, it's just a bounce and you turn and continue lower. So, again, 42,967. So basically, 43,000 is our level that we've got to get above if we're going to be going higher. And this is where we got rejected, unfortunately, a couple of hours ago, and this is where we've got to get above. The other thing that you don't want to see is you don't want to see like an ABC equal measured move, which is kind of, it's not actually what we've got here, but so yeah, above 43,000 Unfi against Bitcoin, I would really like it. If we can't do that, and if we can't get above it, I'm going to say, you know, we might as well stay in Tether. So that's our level, 43,000. I'm not sure if you can trade Unfi against Tether. Yes, you can. At Binance, you can do everything, can't you? Okay, we've got the same deal going on here, though. Let's put regular candles on. From this swing, this is the 61.8 fib. And to be going up, we've got to get above this 50%, which is 9.56. If we can't get above 956, we're not going up. And that's also pretty good support and resistance if we look left here. So 9.56 is our level. If I go all the way down to here, we're kind of around this 50%, isn't it? And then we'll look at the 38.2. That was the high today. So potentially we're at resistance. Potentially. We have to go that little bit further in Unfi. So today's high in Unfi is our resistance. If we can go that little bit further, we're going up. Otherwise, we're in a sideways chop. It's not a long. So when you've got sideways or a range, you want to buy the bottom of the range if you can and sell the top till it breaks out. So Unfi potentially looks good, doesn't it? But we haven't confirmed it with our level. Let's do a couple more things here for Unfi that would say that this is a correction. Yeah, You know, it potentially is a really nice correction in Unfi. I really would like to see it go that little bit further. Of course, the other way is to put our fib on from the high, say, where's that 236? Again, 9.57. So above 9.57 Unfi tether, is it 9.57? 9.53. That would say we're going up. A close, not a spike and look above. A close above would be a bullish reversal. So Unfi, I like it. I have to say, I think my favorite, and I know it's done quite a lot already, and I've been telling my group this, my favorite probably, my favorite long at the moment in these little ones is, where is it? God, it was here a minute ago, I've lost it. EGLD. Just breaking out now. So here's EGLD, US dollar. Remember, these fibs are like a staircase. We've got further to go. 28.7 against tether. And we've just broken out of this really nice sideways consolidation. So I like it against tether. And if we look at it against Bitcoin, EGLD. Ta-da! So on the daily against Bitcoin, you can see, look at this lovely above the 200-day moving average, pull back, find support, rally. Now, if we can't make a new high in this one, we've got the same thing going on. We've got a bit of a sideways range. So we do. It's really important that we do make a new high. But yeah, in terms of looks, 200 moving average, everything else, probably my favorite one is this little EGLD. So there's our this 200 moving average look was also above, and a retest of this 236 fib that's really important for trend. So if we're looking at it against Bitcoin, next upside target is 1362 and then 1655 for EGLD. There, threw that one in because nobody asked for it. That was my favorite. So DOT, and I actually, you know, my favorite should be one that's kind of not quite gone yet. Now DOT. This is a little bit of a here in DOT. These fib levels, as you can see, are quite important. Not everyone, and sometimes they're a bit washy, but most important is 50% here. And then this 61.8, once the market became, you know, we tried to support resistance. The 786 fib levels are normally pretty sharp, and we're underneath them and underneath these lows. So again, DOT Bitcoin, I was really hopeful that this would hold and be support. In fact, DOT was one of the ones I was watching. We were watching in our group to see if we could hold this level and rally from here as a buy, and it's lost it. And not only that, but when we got underneath this level, it's become resistance. So never flipped our hourly moving averages. Now it's making a little bit of a base here, and sometimes you can overshoot levels and then recover them. So if that was going to be the case here in DOT, I'd want to see it above this level, and then this level be support. 22,208. Okay, thanks, Lacey. Okay, so that's what I would be looking for if we've, gosh, just gone a little bit too far in DOT Bitcoin. You know, and this may be all about how volatile Bitcoin is rather than DOT, but yeah, I'm waiting for this was a good place for a bullish reversal. I was waiting to see if we could get one, and we have not, unfortunately. So does that mean you're losing money in DOT Bic? I wouldn't buy it, but if you've already got a load, let's take a look at this. Does it look terrible against the dollar? No. It's, you know, you're hardly losing anything. This is just sideways consolidation, I think base building. So that previous chart says that if you're holding DOT, you're not losing money. It's all about Bitcoin, but we really need to wait and for this to be outperforming. Otherwise, I just don't see the point, you know. So we'll draw it as we'll draw our big giant. triangle. If we did an ABC here, we'd probably end up somewhere around the lows. So, yeah, I was really hopeful DOT could rally from here. I'm still hopeful we can, you know. I think if we look short term at this. Anyway, I would say otherwise pass. You know, if you've got some, you're not losing money, don't panic. Wait for it to start going up again. But it wouldn't be a buy for me. Now, Nia was one of the ones that we had in our group. This was one of the ones we tagged last night for a breakout trade. So it's gone very nice. 1.618 of this ABC correction was our first target up here, and we've hit it. And now we're coming off. So the questions are going to be, how far is it going to come off? So let's look at where we are, because we've hit really our first target. So there's a pattern called Egld pattern in fib or harmonic patterns. Now, when your first swing goes to the 61.8 and you pull back, and your second swing is to the 786, that's a Egld pattern. And if you know you put your fibs on the correction, this is 1.618 of this pullback. So this zone and is a bearish. It's a bearish trend. So this is a downtrend, ABC correction, and then this is quite bearish from here. Now, when you reverse at a 786 fib, your first target is back to the 38.2. Have we reversed at this 786 fib? Yes, we have. The reason that we have is we closed underneath this 61.8. Now, if we had held this level as support, we could say no, still in an uptrend. But it went all the way up for, as usual, fucking pump and dump bullshit, all the way up to our level and all the way back again, you know, probably in a 5-minute candle. It wasn't a 5-minute candle, it was a 15-minute candle. Okay, I apologize. You know, so you know what I mean. So, Nia. So now Nia is going to come back at least to 1.04 Nia Teller. And yeah, I'm a bit gutted that we did this so quickly. And, you know, there we go. Have a profit target, take profit at it. That's the message. So I'm looking for support next at 1.04. And I think that that's where we'll pull back for in Nia Tether. So this was a trade we had done and being near Bitcoin. This one doesn't look so bad, but when you look at this tail, okay, so whenever, you know, if you think about your trend being higher lows, higher highs, so your support and resistance is always previous highs and lows. And so here at previous highs and lows, what we couldn't break the previous high, could we? So no break of the trend. And that was our first target in near Bitcoin from a breakout of this channel. Now, these moving averages are likely support. I don't think fibs, with this stupid spike, you know, you can't put your fib all the way up here because your levels are irrelevant. So, yeah, we're going to look for support now at our moving averages and a little bit further back. We're going to wait and see when this closes and then see where we are relative to this daily 50 and if we can hold above it. If we can, we should continue to rally and we'll pull the 20 moving average up. But yeah, this is a very, where this is. Yeah, 786. Okay, so that again means support 38.2, 525. So potentially we're going to keep falling, and 525 is where I'd be looking for near Bitcoin to find support. So that was a bit meh. Okay, Let's look at FIL. Fill Bitcoin now. This is another one where, gosh, we are unfortunately underperforming Bitcoin. If we put our retrace fibs on from this low to high, we're underneath, I'm pretty sure we're underneath this 942. So we're going to look for a full retest of the lows. So for me, fill Bitcoin, am I ready to buy this yet? No, unfortunately not. Let's see if this is a 1270. We might be, no, we're underneath it. So no. Now, this doesn't mean this is a bad coin. Doesn't mean that it's not going up in dollar terms. It just means that Bitcoin is doing better than Phil. So let's take a look at Phil dollar. It's not a great deal of chart history, is there? So, okay, we're going to look at the patterns. So we're going to go from low to high like this. This is unusual, okay, so 786 bounce, but we didn't get to our target, which was here. So maybe we're going to double bottom and then do it this time. So I would not be surprised to see Phil Tether hold this level, 24 on a retest or around here, and do one more swing higher. And if we were to do that, if we were to break out of this declining wedge, my fib targets tell me 50.7 for the next swing. But if we don't and we keep making new lows, then there's nothing. I don't see any reason to buy this one. And I would say, yeah, keep the channel, use this trend line. That's your first signal. Back above these daily moving averages and above this trend line. But potentially there is some support here tonight for Phil. We didn't do Zil. Okay, let's do some more. So let's do GRT. Got that one. So we don't have a lot of history. We're on our hourly chart here, aren't we? So simple things to me, straight away, without any fibs or moving average or anything else, it's because we've broken this low, okay, we're in a bigger correction. So we're going to say to ourselves, yeah, we've reversed the trend by breaking this low. We tried to hold it, couldn't, and now we're underneath it. So if we close underneath it, we're going to see a little bit of downtrend. Most corrections, remember, are 3 waves, so a bit bigger. If we use our fibs from the low, and we put them on, we are, no, not doing this. Yeah, broke that 236 fib, it's now resistance, so we're going to looking for 2087 and 50%, I would say 50, you know, in the beginning of these coins, 50% is very common. Back to this swing low, I would say 1715, look for that next. So 1715, maybe 61.8. Somewhere in this box would be where I would expect it to find support. Okay, so GRT Bitcoin, yeah, let's leave that one and let it come back a little bit further. A nice 50% retrace if you like this project. I don't know anything about it. That would be a gift if you like it. Do I think F2 will make regular F more expensive? It shouldn't do. No, I need to think about it. Maybe. RLC, let's take a quick, we'll look at RLC on the hoof. So again, we're going to look at it against Bitcoin because it's picking up against Bitcoin. Are we at a good place? Let's do a monthly chart of RLC. When this one performs, it really does perform. Okay, let's tidy up that. So this is one, look, where it had a really long opening spike. Those fibs don't really tell you anything. They're not helpful. So we'll, now that we've got a bounce though, we'll use the most recent swing. So we're ignoring the spike. We're using this most recent swing. We failed at the 50%. I don't think we reached the 61.8. But if you're in a downtrend, somewhere between the 38.2, you know, and all you can rally back to is the 50 or 61.8, unfortunately, you are still in a downtrend. So this is another one where, even though this coin performs spectacularly sometimes against the US dollar, it's quite spiky. It's not outperforming Bitcoin, and I feel like we could be about to retest the lows. Now, there's potentially some support before then here, but, and if we count this as an ABC, we could also take that away. See if we've gone beyond that. I think we've gone beyond it. Yeah. Yeah. May as well, honestly, be in Bitcoin. Now, if we look at the weekly, so these two swings should have a relationship. So high to low, high. When you go below on be equal measured move level, the next is the 1272 and then the 1.618. So next support for me would be 2369, and if I put retrace fibs on from that low, I would expect that to be like a 940. Very close to the lows, isn't it? Yeah, 2369, if not a full retest of the lows. So RLC Bitcoin, there's nothing in this yet to make me say, oh, we've made a bottom. Here we've had a bit of a pause day, but we're at new lows. So there's no trend reversal here yet for RLC Bitcoin. Now, is this all about Bitcoin? Is RLC US dollar, you know, smashing it? No, it's like every other altcoin, it's going sideways. It's not losing money against the US dollar. These moves, like, we're just sideways. These moves are all about Bitcoin. So if you're sitting in another altcoin, you're missing Bitcoin. That's the thing. Now, this potentially is quite a nice bottoming pattern back and forward around the 200 moving average. And if we look at where we are in RLC, from the lows here, oops, didn't mean to do that. I meant to put in the 61.8. 61.8 fib levels can be really messy. This one really has been. Yeah, it's all about Bitcoin. RLC is just quietly doing zero while Bitcoin is rallying its pants off. And when Bitcoin takes a pause, we should see profit taking move into the big alts and then into the smaller alts. And this is one of the ones, especially around this 200 moving average, that should do really well. This is such a good support level. If we look left at these previous highs, let's use the close, you know, amazing. Okay. So RLC, you know, you wouldn't lose money in it. I'm waiting for it to go up again. It's not quite there yet. Okay, I think there was one. I think I'm going to call it a night if that's okay. Apart from Silica and KNC. So I'm going to just do Zil and KNC. 1 second, I've got Silica here. So let me see what. There's a dog outside my door trying to get in. 1 second. Okay. So this T36 fib level, 196, is it zoom out? Remember, you either put your fibs on the whole thing, so that would be all the way up here. When we do that though, it gives us a T36 fib up here, which is not really relevant for what we're doing. So we're going to use just this most recent 5-wave swing down from these highs, and these fib levels have worked really well. So this 236 fib is support and resistance, this 38.2 is. I feel like we had a lovely rally, very nice correction, and now we're on our way up again in Silica on the weekly. Loads to like. Trending above the 200 moving average, above this previous support and resistance, and look, this really is a level because, or these highs, let's use these closing highs, and this high here. Because we get above it and then we come back and we retest it as well as this 236 fib. So beautiful. Now it's sideways consolidation unless we can make a new high, or it's sideways consolidation unless we can break out of this pattern. Does it look good for it? It does. We're relying on this ABC correction being complete and we go up again, and sometimes, you know, it's just part of a bigger one if everything goes down and we do a bit like that. But this is really good support at 196 in Silica Bitcoin, and I think if it came back to it, it would be a gift. So I love Silica as long as we hold above 196. I'm looking for 287 and 360 again in Silica Silica against Bitcoin. Okay, 50% of this drop is going to be a big deal level, and I strongly recommend when we get back there that you take some profit there, because if we go to the weekly, look at these previous lows that are there as well. So 360, that's just one of those levels where you should take a little bit of profit. Okay, the other thing that we could see there is it's also an equal measured move correction from this low, isn't it? So yeah, 360, 370, take a little bit of profit off, wait and see what happens. If it keeps going, buy it back again. If it just does a shallow pullback and then keeps going, buy it back again. But it may be that we could see quite a nasty reversal there. So that's my target. I retested the highs at 287 and then 360 in ZIL Bitcoin. And this is definitely outperforming Bitcoin, and definitely on a good set, if you can get a good nice entry worth diversifying in. So this is what we were looking for last week, a break above this highs. And I'm just going to take this off. Because I'm not sure that these actually, let's try it the other way. Yay. So my next upside target for Silica dollar is at 0.05760. That is where we are. If I put we are 2.618 of this pullback swing. I'm going to put it on the left so you can see it. Yeah, 2.618 extension. This stopped really nice at the 27. This support then becomes this 1.618 here, and so our next target is 57.80. And also, you remember the swings normally have a relationship between them. So if this was our wave 1 and this is a wave 2, you would normally expect wave 3 to be 1.618 or 2.618 of wave 1. So we've blasted through the 1.618 level. This is where I think that our wave 3 will stop, and we'll see a wave 4 before we do a wave 5 higher. And so watch out at 57.80 when we get here. Now, the most common retrace of a wave 3 is 38.2. So we would go from here to, I don't know why I've got the orange on, but we'll get rid of the orange. Okay. So if we come all the way up and we tag this level and we reverse, 4705 would be the 236 fib. So if we go beyond the 23 back to 4000, 4050 is where we were looking, and this is this previous 1.618. So we could, you want to take profit when we get to 5775, because we're likely to see it pull back to 4000 before the next one, and it would be a correction on the scale of this one. So, you know, this is how long it would take as well. Very often, if corrections are not equal in price, they're equal in time. If we did an equal in price correction here, that would bring us back as well to 4000. So that's what we're looking for. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I hope that helps. KNC. I don't know what the hell's going on here with these dogs. But it's very... Okay. Blimey. Somebody's... What's going on with Gifto? Anyway. I'm on the wrong page. Here we go. Oh, you know, I'll just draw it here, don't worry. KNC. So KNC Bitcoin. Is still in a pretty nasty downtrend, isn't it? God. No respite for this one. Back above these highs. You see how we really... These lows here, how we really tried to hold them back above them, and then this daily 50 moving average, that would be a good bullish look. If we get a bounce, that would be a good target for your bounce as well, back to these lows. So back to basically 5,050 in KNC Bitcoin. That would be your first target where you'd be looking for if we reverse. At the moment though, and pretty much there's no sign of it, you know. Now, if we take this most recent swing, this is a 4-hour chart. Gosh, that's not... So we're underneath this 1272. I feel like this is going to keep going lower and potentially to 3,000. So I would say no to KNC Bitcoin. Now, that doesn't mean that KNC US dollar is going to be losing you money. It might be quite nice. Let's see. Yeah, it's just sideways, isn't it? So again, we've got another coin where it's all about Bitcoin. And this has just kind of gone to sleep, if you like. Now, I feel like this is, yeah. I would leave KNC for now. Don't there's clearly a very good support and resistance level here, but around here, isn't it? That we're all going. If we look at these highs, the average of these, this is the lower high here. But yeah, neutral. I think you might as well be in Bitcoin. If you trade KNC, keep your stop in Bitcoin until that reverses. I just don't see a reason to buy this yet. And I think it potentially could fall to 3,000. Cheers. Thanks for the tip. Okay, so it's a bit of a holiday period. Now, I just want to say be careful. It's too easy to lose money in holiday volatility that doesn't mean too much. And, you know, move in Bitcoin is potentially a little bit of a warning sign of more sideways or more correction. And I think we can be patient, and we'll look at it all again next weekend. I'll post some short videos on Twitter, but I'm going into holiday mode. I suggest you do too. And let's all look forward to the Santa rally, which, if it happens, should be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and maybe Thursday next week. It's between Christmas and New Year. Should you buy Bitcoin today? No. No, you shouldn't. For me, like, here's my guide. This pink moving average is a 20 moving average. It's my best friend. So if I trade the daily chart, I always want to be as close to it as I can and on the right side of it. And if I'm trading the hourly, if I'm just day trading, if I just sit down and say, am I going to buy it today? I want to be as close to it, and I want it to be trending my way. And here we are underneath it on the hourly, and we need to pull back to on the daily. It's not a good place for a position. If you've already got one, it's a good place to be managing it, but it's not a good place for new buys in Bitcoin today yet. No, I feel like we've done one swing. So we've done one swing lower like this. We're going to do one swing up, and then I think we're going to do another one before we can buy it. And we'll see how it unfolds, because it might be that we don't go up that far, you know. Yeah. Let's just wait a little bit longer. God, I hope I'm not wrong. I hope I'm right. Now, yeah, I'm not wrong. We're too far away from these. We're too stretched from these moving averages. It's not a good place. So whatever you celebrate, happy Christmas, whatever your holiday you're celebrating, I hope it's a peaceful and relaxing one. I know for an awful lot of people that this has been a really awful year, terrible year. And let's just get it out of the way and have a better one next year. So, and if you're one of those people that you lost somebody, or you lost your business, or you lost money, or you know someone or someone in your family, you know, I'm really sorry. It's been a really awful time for everybody, and let's look forward to better times ahead. Okay, bye everyone.